Oh boy. I really need to set better alarms for myself. Um actually. Okay. Yeah, wow. People showed up and I was asleep. Wow. Really? Really? Oh man. I'm First of all, I just want to say sorry everyone. My alarm went off at like 9:50 in order to start this. And I just looked at it and I went right back to sleep. I am so sorry, everybody. The sleep was heavy on me because I had got back from work at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was telling myself, yes, yes, you're gonna go back to sleep. You're just gonna sleep for a little bit, and then you'll be able to do this whole stream, no problem. I told myself I was just 9:50. I told myself I was gonna do this recording, and then one thing led to another. I was literally two sheets in the wind, and I was out. I was out completely. I am so sorry, everyone. The itis done hit me harder than I thought it would. And yeah, the sleep got me. The sleep got me. Like Simon Logtown was here and Grant Dolman was here. Simon's all like, "You there?" And Grant is all like, "Well, that was an awesome discussion. I wonder what happened." The itis got me. I fell asleep and I slept through my alarm. I looked at it and I was out. That was it. But apologies are over. I don't know if they're gonna come back, but if not, then hey, that's fine. I'll speak to some more people about this. Okay, so a lot of people have been wanting me to do One Piece theories and One Piece discussions, and I felt like doing One Piece discussions live was a better way to speak to you guys, especially you One Piece fans out there, talking about things that have been happening in One Piece and how it's affecting everybody and what it means for a lot of people out there, and plus bring up like a couple of theories or maybe make a couple of theories based on the subject. So today we're going to be talking about Haki in One Piece. Now, the one thing about Haki is when we first seen it, we're gonna just run through the whole history of Haki itself real quick. So when we first see Haki, we don't even know what it is. It's just like something that some characters can use because at the time Oda didn't come up with a name for it. So going through, Haki is a mysterious power that is found in every living being in the world. It is not that different from the typical senses. So, from what we know of Haki, Haki is just basically something that everyone has, but not everyone can use it because, due to the info we know of it, you have to train yourself to use these. It's like typical senses, but at the same time, it's special senses that those who train it can actually use. So it's not like a thing that everybody and their mama can just straight up use, even though a certain mama can use it. But when you train it, it's something that is extraordinary and it's not too different from your regular senses. It's like a sixth sense, sixth, fifth, and whatever sense. So it's not that different from the typical senses. However, most people do not notice it or fail to awaken it, i.e., what I say about training. And not too many people know what it is, but some don't even know how to unlock that power, even if they're told about it. So, broadly speaking, there are two types of Haki available to everyone, given the proper training. But there is a third type that is only a certain group of chosen ones are said to possess. So, what it's talking about is observation Haki and armament Haki. This is pretty much the one where people can be trained to use it, but only a select few, like 1 in 1 million, i.e., people who are like Bo Hancock, possibly Dragon, Luffy, Ace, Whitebeard, Doflamingo, only a select few people are able to use a third type of Haki known as Conqueror's Haki. And we'll get into that and pretty much what it means for the rest of the series, because there's so many theories out there right now about Haki as a whole. Like, I'm wondering, like, we've seen different levels of Haki throughout the entire story of One Piece. And even now, we're being introduced to different ways that Haki can be used, and how some people like Rayleigh are able to use these levels of Haki, but certain people who can already use Haki are not on the same level to use Rayleigh's level of Haki. But we'll get into that in a sec. In simple terms, Haki is an ability to sense and predict spiritual energy. Ken Bushoku no Haki, which is Japanese for observation, or color of observation. Use life force as physical reinforcement. Busou Shoku, which is, I keep messing up the names. I want to get it right. Which is color of arms Haki. I can't believe I just forget that. And color of observation is Ken Bushoku. Busou Shoku is color of arms, and Hao Shoku no Haki is Conqueror's Haki, known as Conqueror's Haki or Conqueror's Spirit, but Conqueror's Haki is a more common name. So basically, the whole entirety of Haki is something that a lot of people can use during the beginning of One Piece, but you don't see too many people using it. It's when you start to get later into the series that the concept of Haki starts to become more prevalent, and you start to see more people use it. And then it's when we get to the time skip, is when we start to see that people of the New World, the people who can use Haki, it's widely used throughout people who can use who live in the New World. So, yo, Brandon Mitchell, I am so sorry if you were here waiting for the stream earlier. I fell asleep and I slept through my alarm for this stream. So I do apologize if you were here waiting. I know 2 others were waiting for me, but I failed to wake up in time because I slept through my alarm. So both to Simon and Grant, I am so sorry. But we're talking about Haki today in One Piece and just how it is. So let me actually get these tabs in other tabs. So, and use life force as physical and reinforcement. And for the rare chosen ones, overpower enemies' willpower with your own. So, observation Haki is based on enhancing the ability to sense things, like sense people, sense objects, and even predict what an enemy is going to do before they do it. Armament Haki is based on the physical attributes of the person, which makes it so that they can reinforce their bodies using just straight up willpower, even to the point where they're able to harm devil fruit users who would normally not be able to be harmed in any way, such as people whose bodies become resistant to blunt attacks, like Luffy, can be harmed when someone uses armament Haki on them. We've seen this with our first introduction of Garp to Luffy, where he's able to harm Luffy despite Luffy's body being made of rubber, and Logia devil fruit users. So, and then overpower enemies' willpower with your own was basically just knocking out people with just straight up willpower with your own Conqueror's Haki. This chapter tonight, don't say anything. I want to read it. Please do not spoil anything. Actually, just to make sure, I hope that there wasn't a chapter out today. No, there isn't. But there is one tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to do my reaction to that. So the whole concept of Haki is, let's just actually read through the history. Haki, unnamed at the time, was first seen when Shanks used it to scare off the Lord of the Coast to save Luffy when he was a kid from the wrath of the Sea King. See, here's the thing. When I was younger and I was looking at One Piece and I saw Shanks just stare at the Sea King, I just straight up thought that Shanks just intimidated him just by glaring at him, and Shanks was that powerful. Little did I know that there was really more to it. And that's basically what he did. He just stared at the Sea King. But I didn't know that he just used his Haki to intimidate him and cause him to run off. The term Haki was first coined and used much later when Blackbeard was commenting on Luffy's bounty in Jaya and was hinted at during Shanks' visit with Whitebeard. The underlying concepts of Haki were introduced in the Sabe Archipelago. I was told that I've been mispronouncing archipelago incorrectly. It's not. Didn't read it, just excited. Ooh, excellent. But I've been told that I've been mispronouncing the phrase archipelago incorrectly this entire time. And actually, let me just move the tabs over so I can see both of you guys' chat and also read what I'm trying to read through as well. There we go. Archipelago and Amazon Lily arcs. This concept was clearly explained by Rayleigh to Luffy at the start of the later's training on Rukskaina Island. Haki is dormant in every living person, but it's rare for most people to ever awaken that ability. Intense training can awaken it, as can extreme shock, such as with Kobe during the Battle of Marineford. And as we've seen with Kobe, he had the misfortune of awakening his observation Haki. And his observation Haki pretty much keyed in on every single marine that started to die throughout the entire war, and he sensed every single one of it, which almost drove him mad in a way. It caused him to confront Akainu, who he knew would kill any Navy soldier no problem for any insurrection, and he had no problem just straight up trying to kill Kobe because Kobe had different ideas about it. My mind just exploded. I haven't had sleep since yesterday, so I don't get it, but it sounds cool. Oh yeah, the concept of Haki is very deep, Brandon. It's very deep indeed. But for Kobe, it caused him to, in one moment, slightly forget who he was talking to due to the sheer amount of shock that it brought to him, to Kobe, when he was sensing every single one of those Marines dying just by observation Haki. He had no control over it. He just completely absorbed every single sense of every Navy soldier that was dying, all into just sensing it all. Like Superman trying to learn how to control his senses for the first time when he was a kid. He could see through his teachers. He could hear everything. He had to train himself to turn it off. Kobe, on the other hand, he had to go through the same thing with his observation Haki. He was sensing every single person dying, and it was literally driving him insane until he, I guess, passed out before Akainu tried to kill him, but then Shanks saved him. All right. Due to the fact that Haki, okay, let me see. Two known people, Isa and Otohime, were born with the ability Awaken with no known training. So Otohime, as you may know, was the late queen of Fishman Island, and she was born with the ability with it already awakened without her having to train it. There's only a very rare amounts of people who can have this ability, no problem. And then Isa is a little girl from the Skypiea Islands that the Straw Hats encounter. And they're both born with the ability to have observation Haki already awakened. Due to the fact that Haki originates from individual spirit and not their physical body, users are still capable of using it even if their spirit is transferred into another body. So what this means is, say that Law was able to transfer your consciousness over to a new body. Your ability to use Haki still stays with you, even though the body that you have changes. So you could have your body completely swapped out for one that's weaker than the one you have, and you're still able to use Haki. But there's no guarantee you'll be able to use it to the same level as your body has, due to the fact that you may have trained your body to be more sturdy with, like, say, armament Haki, for example. Like, say you were to be transferred into the body of an old man. It may not hold up as well, but you'll still be able to use Haki if you had your younger body still. So Haki still works even if your body is transferred, and even if your consciousness is transferred into a new one. Haki can also become stronger, especially when a Haki user battles stronger opponents. So, here's the thing. This is taking some cues from Super Saiyans who get stronger the closer they are to death. The more you use Haki in battle against other people who use Haki and stronger opponents, the stronger it becomes. So that's how a lot of individuals in a One Piece world have such strong Haki. But we'll get into just how ridiculous some ways of armament Haki and observation Haki and conqueror's Haki can become. Because as we've seen in both the time skip and pretty much a little bit leading into the time skip and pretty much up to now, Haki has ridiculous levels, both in the manga and in the anime as well. Katakuri is a prime example. Big Mom is a prime example. Rayleigh is a prime example. We've never understood a lot of these different levels of Haki until it was explained to us, and we're going to get into it. A kid must be blooming hard with all these beatdowns. Why you right? Why you right, though? This is bad. Despite their great capabilities, Haki is not limitless as it can be depleted from overuse, rendering the user unable to use it for a set period while it regenerates. So, another example of this is Luffy's fight with Doflamingo. When he was using Gear 4th, he only had a certain amount of time that he could use Gear 4th before he rendered himself unable to use armament Haki for a set period of time. And after using up his Haki, he was literally pretty much left in a weakened state overall, and he had to wait for his Haki to basically recharge. So even though Haki is strong, it has limits. And unless you're very accustomed to these limits, you're going to be putting yourself in dire straits if you overtax yourself and use it out all up in one go. So the types of Haki are as follows. Observation Haki, armament Haki, and conqueror's Haki. And we have numerous Haki users in the series. We have Satori, Shura, Gedatsu, Isa, Enel, Om, Kobe, Rebecca, because she's able to use observation Haki, Usopp, because he's able to use observation Haki, Helmeppo, he has a observation Haki as well, but he's not able to use it to the level of Kobe. Kobe's ability to use observation Haki is miles beyond Helmeppo's. Crocus, Shirahoshi, Hotori, Kotori, Kozuki Momonosuke, Otohime, Calgara, Patrick Redfield, even though Patrick Redfield is non-canon because he's only specific to the One Piece World Red game. And that's all the users of observation Haki, two of which currently no longer are living. That would be Otohime and Calgara. Then we move on to the armament Haki users, and that'll be Margaret, Boo, DS Drake, Charlotte Cracker, Charlotte Counter, Charlotte Cadenza, Draw, Charlotte Raisin, Hyogoro, Grandpa Hio, Kawamatsu, the Kung Fu Dugongs, Charlotte Calbetta, Shuzo, Alpaca Chino, Burndy World, Kome, Dice, Prondi, and Z, or Zephyr from the One Piece World Z films. And those who can use both observation and armament Haki read as follows. Boa Marigold, Bora Sandasona, Marco, Jozu, Vista, Roanora Zoro, Sanji, Kinemon, Isho, also known as Fujitora for those who don't know, Trafalgar di Waterloo, Dracul Mihawk, Sakazuki, also known as Akainu, Borsalino, also known as Kizaru, Sentomaru, Smoker, Tashigi, Jinbei, Bellamy, Jesus Burgess, Marshall D. Teach, Peckham's, Tamago, Sabo, Rob Lucci, Monkey D. Garp, Sudu, Vice Admiral Sudu, Kuzan, also known as Aokiji, Stussy, Diamante, Treble, Pika, Kanjuro, Kaku, Jabra, Bluno, Kumadori, Fukuro, Khalifa, or Califla, Momonga, Vice Admiral of Momonga, Cavendish, Sai, Bastille, Edward Weevil, Inuarashi, Virgo, and Pedro. And as it follows, those who can use uh, specifically seeing Conqueror's Haki is Eustace Kid, Kozuki Odin, and Naguri. It still means Eustace Kid is able to use Conqueror's Haki, but we've only heard about and seen that he's able to just use Conqueror's Haki and just by word alone. But the ones who can use both Armament Haki and Conqueror's Haki are Charlotte Linlin, the late Porcus Diaz, and Douglas Bullet. And I believe Douglas Bullet is part of One Piece Stampede. He is. I am not going to read through that because I want to see the film. And those who can use all types of Haki are Shanks, Rayleigh, Hancock, Luffy, Katakuri, Sengoku, Doflamingo, Chinjao, Don Chinjao, and Whitebeard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 people in the entire series who can use all types of Haki. Specifically, all types, who have been shown to use all types and know how to use all types. Only 9 people. Sure, we got a bunch of people who can use observation Haki and some of them who can use observation and armament Haki mixed together. But only 9 people have been shown to use every single version of Haki overall. And of course, we have anime and manga differences. In the manga, those hit with Haoshaku no Haki foam at the mouth after or while foaming while losing unconsciousness, whereas in the anime, they simply fade. In the anime, use of Haoshoku or Buso Shoku Haki creates a rippling or shockwave-like effect similar to the Gura Gura no Mi, while in the manga, it is completely invisible. Also, in recent episodes, use of Haoshoku no Haki causes the affected area, excluding the user, to gain a dark blue tint. So, as we've seen, yes. However, this could be for dramatic effect. In the One Piece film Z, the Haoshoku Haki use creates a circular purple wave. In the anime, some Haki users are shown surrounded by different color auras, such as red for Luffy, purple for Doflamingo, or pink for Big Mom, even if they are not using Haki at that moment. So apparently, in some instances in the anime, the aura of an individual when used with when using observation Haki, it changes depending on the person. Like, think magical power for users or fairy tale. Each individual person has a different color aura to illustrate their magical power. So, let's go into the trivia about Haki as a whole. Then we'll move into the subcategories, and then we'll move into what it means for the rest of the series. Hopefully this is okay with you guys because I want to elaborate on this. I've actually been wanting to talk about the different concepts of Haki in depth like this for quite a while now, and people have actually been asking me to do this, but I just haven't had the time to do it due to my job always causing me to fall asleep over time. But I'm glad that I'm able to do this now, and I'm off from work today, so I got nothing but time to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this in its entirety, what it means for the rest of the series, and what I think about it personally, and then we'll be good. So, Haki appears to be similar in principle to common types of ki, or chi, found in various other anime and manga series, which is based on the concept of ki, or life force, in Chinese philosophy. Coincidentally, the kanji for the ki in Haki is the same as the character Hanzi used for chi. By this proxy, the pinyin reading for Haki would be baki or bachi. Not only is it a Japanese term, but Haki was also the name of a Scandinavian sea king, name given to powerful pirates in Norse mythology. In the anime, some animals seem to be able to learn to competently use Haki, particularly armament Haki. This has so far happened twice. Al Pacino, a member of the Neo Marines, was shown using armament Haki to damage Luffy, and the Kung Fu Dugong captain of the Sea Animal Pirates. So, that's everything concerning Haki. Now we're going to move on to the different types. Observation Haki. It was first introduced under the name Mantra when Satori used it to fight Sanji, Luffy, and Usopp as they went through the ordeal of balls. Aiza is the only known Shandia who has this ability. It served as a plot point when she helped Luffy locate Enel. It varies in strength between users, with Enel seemingly being the strongest. With his devil fruit, the Goro Goro no Mi, Enel could pick up electromagnetic waves in the air, allowing him to overhear conversations and everything around him. This extended the range of his mantra to cover roughly all of Skypiea. By comparison, most of the other priests could only keep track of people nearby. The first time it was seen being used and referred to as Haki was during Luffy's battle on Amazon Lily with the Boa sisters. Later, Rayleigh explained Haki to Luffy and confirmed that mantra and Haki are one and the same, and that mantra is simply the Skypian name for the ability. So, we've already gone through the names of those who can use Observation Haki. We just refer to the list of those who can use it from the previous one, because otherwise I'll just be going through the same list again. All right. The most common usage of this Haki allows a user to sense the presence of others. Rayleigh states that to fully master this ability would allow the user to see others even if they are concealed from view or too far to see naturally. So one good way to see this happening, and one good way to see this example is as far as being able to see those who are concealed, you refer to Usopp's first usage of Observation Haki. This was during Dressrosa, where he had to save both Luffy and Law from being touched by Sugar and causing all the people to be turned back into toys. Because if Luffy and Law lost in the Battle of Dressrosa against Doflamingo, then it spelled the end for everyone. So when Usopp was getting ready to shoot Sugar, he first started to awaken his observation and his ability of observation by being able to see such an extremely long distance, because the path between Luffy, Law, and Usopp was literally miles apart, and it would be impossible even with his goggles to see from such a far distance. But thanks to his awakening of Observation Haki, he was able to see not only Sugar, but also see Luffy and Law as well, though he didn't really recognize it as that kind of power at the beginning. So Usopp awakened his Observation Haki, but I don't think he's really trained it really at this point. But it allows the user to see great distances, which makes me wonder if Van Augur has Observation Haki as well, because that man has been able to snipe birds from islands that you can't even see from long distances. Like, for instance, when the Straw Hats were still sailing out on the sea, and he sniped a bird that was close to them, but they couldn't tell where the shot came from because they couldn't see any islands from the distance they were. So that tells me that Van Augur could possibly have some extremely high level of long distance Haki that allows him to pretty much snipe outside of an island's entire range, no problem. So when it comes to different individuals, it depends on the person to train them, but Observation Haki can be a little bit OP. Sorry, my family's talking in the background, and I'm just trying to see if they were talking to me or not. But they're not, so we're good. So, it allows users to see you too far naturally. When viewed this way, the user can't actually see the person with any physical characteristics, but rather recognizes the targets by their aura, which forms as a light silhouette on a dark background, as demonstrated when Usopp snipes Sugar, or how the blind Isho sees the world. Another good example of this is Fujitora. Fujitora is blind, completely blind, yet he's able to use Observation Haki to see the environment around him. Now, mind you, he can only see like the structure of things with his observation. He can't see like the details of a person or the contours of a person's face, which is one of the reasons why he regrets blinding himself, because then he's not able to see what a person Luffy is, that everyone in Dressrosa was willing to save him. And Isho pretty much regretted blinding himself because he's seen the horrors of the world and he didn't want to look at it. But you have to admit, for Fujitora to be a blind man, his Observation Haki is extremely strong. Like in the anime specifically, there was a moment where Doflamingo's puppet strings were all starting to zone in on different people, both Marines, civilians, pirates, everyone. And one started to center on Fujitora's neck. And even though the string is ridiculously thin, like it's so thin that it's barely noticeable by most people, Fujitora was able to catch the string before it touched him and just like observant. So even something as thin as a string itself, like and almost as visible as a thin piece of thread, is not small enough for someone of Fujitora's observation caliber to notice. So even though I was here on time and then left, I didn't realize it was back on. Grant, let me just say I am sorry that I didn't start at 10. I set my alarm at 9:50 because I wanted to get some sleep because I was sleepy before I did the stream and I wanted to make sure that I was fully awake for this. But I slept past my alarm to get started promptly at 10. So for those of you who were here waiting at 10 o'clock for this stream to start and I didn't start it, I'm sorry. I slept through it because I got home at like 6 a.m. and I wanted to make sure I got my sleep because if I don't sleep after I get home from work, then you can't do nothing with me the rest of the day. I am horrible at games. I'm horrible at doing videos, and it was just a bad experience that I like to be at my best when I give you guys videos. So apologies for not being promptly on time. It's just that the sleep overtook me. But now that I'm rested, I'm fully up, and now we can talk about this. But what was I talking about? Who was I talking about? Oh yeah, Fujitora and his observation Haki. It's very strong for someone of his caliber for him to be blind and for him to catch something as thin as a thread, no problem whatsoever. Not only that, but the fact that his reflexes are extremely high for a person to be blind, because normally some people who have observation Haki, you need to have the reflexes necessary to dodge certain attacks. Like, sure, you may be able to dodge it. 10, it was 3 p.m. here. Well, 10 my time, 10 a.m. my time. But I know it's like a lot later in over in London. Well, England. But yeah, so that's pretty much how strong observation Haki could be for certain individuals. But let's read on, though. This form of Haki is useful in finding powerful auras, as Sanji displayed in Zou when he sensed Nekomamushi approaching Beige, or Beige, or however you want to say his name, Capone. This type of Haki allows a user to see another person through the aura, be it behind buildings, strategically hidden, or camouflage, as was shown when Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro detected Psycho P. Given this, observation Haki, depending on the level, can discover who is hidden but present. So even if you're invisible, people with trained observation Haki are still able to see you. So invisibility is not going to pretty much help you out. Which brings me back to London is an awesome country. What characters have I missed you talking about? Just wondering if Usopp has come up. Yes, since we're talking specifically about Haki, I brought up Usopp and his awakening of observation Haki and how I think that his observation Haki. Well, actually, you know what? I haven't said this, but I think that in regards to how extensive the range of observation Haki is going to go, I feel like we're going to see just how far it's going to be pushed when those Straw Hats eventually go up against the Blackbeard Pirates. Because Van Augur is on the Blackbeard Pirates, and I'm very sure he can use observation Haki, which is why he's able to snipe so well. And I feel like his sniping is going to go up against Usopp's sniping to see which observation Haki, in terms of being able to use long-range weaponry, is going to go. So Van Augur versus Usopp. I can't wait to see that. But going back to observation Haki being able to see those who are hidden, this brings up another fight with one of the Blackbeard Pirates that I'm looking forward to. Zoro versus Shiryu of the Rain. For those of you who have been following the manga, you know full well what has happened to Shiryu and how he now has the ability of Absalom. Absalom's ability is the ability to Devil Fruit ability, is the ability to turn invisible. So Shiryu of the Rain now has access to that. Shiryu of the Rain is the swordsman of the Blackbeard Pirates. So this means that Roronoa Zoro eventually may go up against them. And observation Haki is pretty much what's going to be used for Zoro to be able to sense where Shiryu is, because Shiryu now has the ability to turn invisible. So we are now going to be able to see just how strong Zoro's observation Haki is going to be to fight a person that he can't even see. So there's a lot of Blackbeard Pirates that the Straw Hats are going to have to go up against that's going to pretty much maybe push their limits of Haki to beat them. So the user can also use his Haki to predict an opponent's movements shortly before they make them, thereby making the attack much easier to evade with enough skill. The prediction appears to the user as an image or brief premonition of what the opponent will do in the user's mind's eye. And the damage the user will take if the attack actually hits. Good example of this, when Luffy was trying to fight, was thinking about fighting Mihawk, and he thought that his Gear Second was going to be fast enough to try and injure Mihawk. But he saw ahead of this before he even did the attack, because he saw in his mind's eye that the moment he tried to attack Mihawk, Mihawk was just going to straight up cut off his arms. And in order to offset that, he attacked an area in front of Mihawk. And Mihawk knew that Luffy saw this in his mind's eye, and he says, smart. You attacked to keep me from cutting off your arms. So Mihawk knew that if Luffy attacked him, he was going to cut off his arms. Luffy saw that if Luffy attacked Mihawk, that his arms were going to get cut off. So there's a little bit of mind's eye banter there. So yes. But since Sanji, manga spoiler, can turn invisible, I wonder how he versus Shiryu would go. Good example. So maybe it won't be maybe it won't be Zoro versus Shiryu of the Rain, but maybe Sanji. Both can go invisible, so whose observation Haki being able to sense the other individual while invisible, whose observation Haki would be stronger? Good point. I've also noticed that my throat's starting to get kind of dry, and I don't want it to dry out completely. Let me grab a drink real quick, and then we'll continue. All right, I'm back. Got myself some water so that the back of my throat doesn't get dry and it comes back to bite me later this week. Whew. All right, let me see. The damage the user will take if the attack actually hits. It appears that the more the killing intent the enemy has, the easier they are to predict, although more skilled users can predict moves whether there are ambient murderous intents or not. So, depending on the training of the person, they can sense the intent of others, but some are so skilled that you don't need to sense the intent of the murderous intent of others in order to actually sense what they're going to do. Some people have trained their observation Haki to predict what people are going to do, regardless of their feelings, regardless of their emotional state, which also plays into Haki as a whole. If trained enough, users of advanced observation Haki, such as Katakuri and Luffy, can even see slightly into the future. Charlotte Katakuri was able to dodge armament Haki imbued attacks using his Logia-like Devil Fruit ability by seeing the attack coming in the immediate future and making his body flow around the attacks to avoid them. This technique demonstrates that advanced level observation Haki is capable of allowing Logia users to defend against Haki-based attacks. One good example of this is when Marco and Vista used Haki to try and injure Akainu, but they used Haki to attack him, and Akainu was resistant to it, and in a way said that Haki users were annoying to fight. So it just shows that if a Logia user is able to use advanced observation Haki, they can make their body evade attacks from other individuals who can use Haki to harm them. We need a cover page story of Stealth Black visiting the bathhouse all over the New World. Maybe you can run into Charlotte Cinnamon again. Oh no. We don't need that. Sanji, that's an abuse of power. Let me see. This type of haki can also allow the user to sense and empathize with the emotions and natures of others. For example, Otohime used this haki to sense the sufferings and emotions in the heart of a fishman thief, as well as hear the screams coming from Fisher Tiger's heart. Another example is that Isa was able to sense Wiper's aggressive nature with this haki. Isho was also able to sense no trace of resentment from the citizens of Dressrosa, as they were putting on a facade to help the Straw Hats escape. So, while observation haki can be used to sense the intent of others, it can also be used to sense the emotions of others as well, and whether or not their intents are, genuine or not. People can be saying something, but their emotional state can be saying something completely different, and you don't need to see the person in order to examine this. When trained highly enough, this type of haki has been proven to be an effective countermeasure for shape-shifting Devil Fruit users like Logia or special Paramecia types against armament haki. With observation haki, they can predict their opponent's attacks and quickly change the shape of their bodies to avoid contact. An example of this is Charlotte Katakuri, who creates holes in his body so that the attacks pass through him without touching him, giving the impression that armament haki does not work on him, while it actually does not make any contact at all. Observation haki, unlike the other types of haki, has hardly any visible indication when being used in the manga, like the blackening effect of hardening or the ripple effect of Conquerors, aside from their enhanced dodge rate. In the anime Special Heart of Gold, anime movie, One Piece film Z, and since Whole Cake Island since the Whole Cake Island arc, those who are able to use observation haki were shown with bright red pupils when sensing incoming attacks, hitting opponents, or seeing slightly into the future. So whenever you see Katakuri, you would see his eyes light up, and then you would see like a lot red lines just appear out of nowhere with him using observation haki. Hitting opponents or seeing slightly into the future. According to Charlotte Katakuri, observation haki works best if the user is in a calm state. This is why Katakuri's observation haki was so strong during the Whole Cake Island arc up until the very end of his fight with Luffy, is because he was always calm and collected, allowing him to see into the future pitch perfectly on end. Now, the thing about seeing into the future is that not everything is assured whenever you look into it, but we'll get into it with the drawbacks. Though the power allows the user to predict most attacks, it can be circumvented by various means. It cannot predict inherently random attacks. For example, Luffy managed to bypass Enel's mantra by bouncing his fists off a nearby wall to prevent himself and thus Enel from knowing where they would land. Gum Gum Octopus. And so, if you don't do things that make it easy to read your movements, like Luffy did, he pretty much made his mind go blank and just hit randomly without any plan of, trying to aim anywhere on Enel. It makes it impossible for a person to tell where their attack's going to come from. And even someone of Enel's caliber of being able to sense things was pretty much helpless against Luffy's attacks, and he pretty much got nailed multiple times by the attack. In the unique circumstance of being swallowed by a larger creature and still being alive, the mantra user will hold on. Notification popped up. The mantra user will only be able to sense the larger energy signature. This was shown when Enel failed to discern the presence of Luffy inside the giant snake Nola, only detecting him after he escaped, indicating that her voice most likely enveloped their own when he used the ability. Similarly, Isa could not detect how the battle was progressing with her mantra while inside Nola, and only found out what happened after she and Luffy escaped. So if you're inside like a big creature, and then you can't really sense what's going on outside because you're pretty much sensing the creature you're inside all around you. The creature itself is accompanying your senses. It's only when you get outside the creature that you're able to tell what's going on. This power also does not make the user any faster than normal. Going back to what I said, having the ability to see an opponent's attack does not guarantee you're going to be fast enough to see them. Kind of like the Sharingan. Just because you can see an opponent's movements with your Sharingan does not mean you're fast enough to keep up with it, which is why Sasuke had a hard time fighting Naruto during their first final fight, leading into the Shippuden arc. Shippuden saga. Second half of Naruto. That's why he was training himself during that whole fight to start to speed up with Naruto and match his movements, along with his Sharingan tracking his reactions. So the user's ability to dodge is dependent on their speed. Enel was unable to avoid Luffy's finishing move because it was moving too fast, even though he was able to predict it. Likewise, Luffy's Gear Second was able to outpass Bodasander Sonya, despite her ability to read his movements. This type of Haki is also known to falter if the user loses their concentration. Satori lost control of his mantra when Luffy unexpectedly brought the string of exploding balls right to him, enabling Luffy to grab him from behind when the smoke cleared. Gedatsu lost to Chopper because he lost his concentration and his mantra faltered. And Otohime was killed by a gunshot in the confusion when her petition pages were being burned, as she was caught off guard due to her happiness over everyone signing her petitions. She lost her concentration. The ability to see into the future, which requires an extremely high level of skill, also has its limitations. Final first fight, you could just say first fight. Yeah. I was trying to find a good word to say it, but I didn't really word it correctly. My apologies. It also has its limitations. Charlotte Katakuri was able to see Sanji dodging another person's gunshot and tried to intervene immediately by attacking Sanji himself. However, he was unable to see the outcome of his own intervention of this event in time, resulting in Sanji surprising him when he dodged his attack as well. In addition, the user can only predict the future through their own senses. Katakuri foresaw his sister Pudding crying on the altar, but because he was too far away from her in his vision to hear what had happened, he had no way to know what was about to cause this. So just because you can see into the future does not mean you're going to be able to do anything about it, nor will you be able to discern what causes the thing to happen into the future. So you got to be close enough to observe the whole situation around you and try and put two and two together before you can make any assumptions about how the future is actually going to go and what events will actually lead up to it. It is revealed, like Armament Haki, that observation Haki can be depleted if used too much. And we see this during the fight of Katakuri versus Luffy, where it gets to the point where they can't use, where it's hard for them to discern one another and sense one another and use it to see into the future because there's so many distractions going on and they're just using so much observation Haki that it's making the fight hard for the both of them. All right, that is observation Haki. Now we move on to armament Haki, and we see this before the time skip. We see this used by the admirals. We see this used by Rayleigh, and going into the new world and the time skip, we see that in order for you to really survive, you got to have some form of armament Haki because a lot of the big names in the One Piece world use it also. And if you don't have Haki to back you up, you pretty much don't have a way to really survive in a new world. Armament Haki is a form of Haki that allows the users to use their spirit to create, in essence, an invisible armor around themselves, providing potentially incredible offensive and defensive capabilities. Notably, this form of Haki can be used to injure Devil Fruit users that are otherwise immune to certain kinds of physical harm, mainly Logia users. And we've seen Logia users are able to turn into elements, and some have trained their Devil Fruit abilities to the point where they can turn into an element on contact, thereby pretty much allowing attacks to bypass through them completely, unless you know Armament Haki. In Wano country, armament is still known as Ryuo, literally meaning flowing sakura, found on the concept of inner flow. It was used by Garp for the first time against Luffy to bypass his Devil Fruit power and hurt him in Water 7. It's because when we've seen Luffy go all the way up until Water 7, and we've seen that blunt attacks really don't work on Luffy. It's more of an annoyance than a big deal. And Garp was the first person to actually injure Luffy just purely based on just physical blunt harm. And this shocked everybody because everyone thought that, but he's a rubber man, attacks bounce off of him. And that's when we start to understand that Garp knows something we don't. Later on in Sabaody Archipelago, Sentomaru used a Haki-imbued attack against Luffy, which made the Straw Hats think he was a Devil Fruit user due to their lack of knowledge about the ability as a whole. Afterwards, Rayleigh used Haki to stop Kizaru and even touched his Logia body. Cue the epic moment where Rayleigh just comes sailing in and kicks Kizaru in his light imbued leg. Like the leg that Rayleigh kicks that blocks Kizaru from using is already covered in light. Basically, it's already in a state where anything could pass through it. But Rayleigh is able to physically touch that part of his body, even though that body has become light. The first time the Kujas named this ability Haki, they were shown wielding Haki-imbued arrows. During the Marineford War, Haki was also used many times by Marines and pirates alike. It was shown that Haki is very common in the New World, unlike in Paradise. Hey, Jimbei is Bay. Welcome. What's going on, man? Sorry I didn't start on time. I overslept through my alarm. Sabaody was an awesome short arc. It really was, because it really showed you just how strong some of the people were. At some point, I'm going to talk about the Admirals as well and why I think they're some of the most top-tier characters in the entire series. Namely, I'm going to talk about my man Kizaru. He's one of my favorite Admirals due to just how OP he is. And his power scaling puts him in comparison to Akainu and Whitebeard. And I'll elaborate on those once I start talking about more subjects and having more theories and more discussions. I like doing this live, so it allows me to talk to you guys individually. So when it comes to me doing theories and discussions, I'm going to do them live so we can have a proper discussion, not just me just do like pre-rendered videos, but discuss it with you guys. Aokiji is best. Morally, overall, yes, I believe so. But Kizaru is OP when you think about it. And this is a man that we have yet to see get riled up for anything. So we don't even know what the extent of his power is. But I'll elaborate on that more once I do a discussion on the Admirals and how they stack up against a lot of the people in the One Piece world. Here's a teaser. Kizaru let's just go ahead and say Kizaru is really strong. And I think he's pretty much, he could be possibly Yonko level, because there was a moment where Kaido and Big Mom are talking to one another. We need some respect on Fuji's name. Oh, Fuji's up there with Kizaru. This is a man who's blind, yet he's an admiral, and he's able to contend with people as powerful as Doflamingo, as powerful as Law, as powerful as Luffy, no problem. Like, even when Dofi tried to, attack Fujitora because Fujitora was making it known that he knows that something's going on with Dressrosa, despite what everyone says, Dofi tries to attack him, and Fujitora just blocks it easily, and he's all like, for now, let's just be friends. I'll help you out since you're the king of this country, but only that much. And he just casually walks it off. Dude is able to bring down meteors from space, manipulate gravity to a point where it's able to keep Doflamingo at bay. He's able to fight someone as strong as Roronoa Zoro, no problem. Sure, in the anime, we've seen that Roronoa sends a slash that Fujitora has to block a little bit, but overall, Fuji is not really moved by a lot that goes on. And he's not intimidated by people who are strong, like Akainu, or anybody else like Luffy. Luffy using Gear 4th is pretty much not a big deal to Fuji, because the only time we've seen him actually incur damage through the entire Dressrosa arc was during the fight that he was having with Luffy, and Luffy was kind of giving him a handicap. And despite that, he gets like a small bruise on his face. This is coming from someone who just beat down Doflamingo with Gear 4th. And well, actually, did he use Gear 4th? I want to say Gear... No, he used Gear 3rd on Fujitora. Not Gear 4th, but Gear 3rd. He used like a Gear 3rd punch, and it only left like a small bruise on Fujitora's face. Small bruise. Small bruise. And we've seen Gear 3rd used to take down some quite some powerful people. But Fujitora, Aokiji, and Kizaru are insanely strong. Akainu is strong too, but now no one likes him because of what he did to Ace, and just him as a character. People who hate Blackbeard possibly all pretty much hate Akainu just as much as they hate Blackbeard. So, yeah. I mean, I gotta give respect to I gotta give some props to who is stronger, Sabo or Luffy. At the moment, Sabo. I'm just gonna say that right now. Luffy's strong, but Sabo's stronger. Well, I'll get into that because we're talking about armament Haki now, and some things about armament Haki have been real to show that even though Luffy is starting to learn how to use, Sneeze is on the edge of Baidos. See, it always comes in twos whenever that happens. Personally think Advanced Conquerors is the ability to affect or control the weather, like Dragon at Loketown or Roger against Shiki and Whitebeard and Shanks. There's also the Ace novel, which hints. What do I think? Interesting. I might come back to that once we get to the Conqueror's Haki stage. But showing that Haki is extremely common in New World, unlike in Paradise, where Haki users are fairly rare and almost nobody knows about it. I almost sneezed twice. It's so weird. Yeah, it's not unless there's like a whole bunch of dust in the air do I sneeze more than 2 times. But whenever, and why is it whenever I do videos and I sneeze, it's only twice? Only twice. I don't get it. Almost nobody knows about it. It is later explained by Rayleigh once he begins training Luffy. All right, now it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. Naturally, this invisible armor can also be used as a weapon to strike others with. It can be used to augment the user's own capabilities, projected ahead of the user as a pure brute force, or imbued into weapons to increase their effectiveness. Sabo was shown to be proficient at Haki at the age of 17, the age where Luffy set out to sea. He could even possibly have advanced Ryuo with the Dragon's Breath attack, where he destroys the floor. Let me get into that. Because the last chapter of One Piece, or the second to last chapter of One Piece, explains how armament Haki is able to not only affect the body on the outside, but how it can affect the body on the inside. Let me get to that because it is juicy. Any attack and or weapon enhanced by armament Haki hits immensely harder than it normally would without it. The Kuja Haki imbued arrows, for example, are capable of penetrating solid stone. Now, mind you, these are arrows. These are stone-tipped arrows backed by a wooden shaft. These are just like regular bow and arrows. But when imbued with Haki, they are able to literally break stone itself. Swordsmen tend to use armament Haki to imbue their blades to prevent them from chipping. Zoro and Mihawk are prime examples of this. Mihawk has been able to do this with his sword, and it pretty much keeps him as the world's greatest swordsman, and also means that his blade will always be the sharpest in the world because he uses armament Haki with it to keep it from being chipped. This type of Haki also has the ability to bypass the powers of a devil fruit user whose body has been altered by their fruit in any way, touching the substantial body beneath whatever protection the fruit holds, such as the case of body-altering devil fruits such as Logia or Paramecia for users. However, unlike Sea Stone, it does not actually nullify a user's devil fruit powers, so it still allows them to defend themselves and continue fighting normally. To the same effect, this Haki can also be used as a higher level of offensive power, more so than just bypassing a foe's devil fruit powers. A heavy concentration or coating, as we've seen of this Haki, can be used to harden parts of one's body, turning the area black, thus making the user denser and more formidable and giving their attacks greater power. We've seen people completely cover their bodies up in Haki before. Virgo, who is like a normal size looking guy, when using Haki, it causes their body to pretty much double up in bulk. Like we've seen it with Pika. Pika's body doubles up in bulk, and Virgo's body doubles up in bulk when they pretty much imbue their entire body up with Haki. As demonstrated with Virgo and later Pika, it is possible for one to coat their entire bodies in armament Haki. Although Luffy, the first in the mainstream storyline to demonstrate this effect, named the attack as armament hardening, Doflamingo and Roanoke Zoro are the only people to use this name for this technique. In addition, at high concentrations of this Haki used to imbue weapons, turn them black and if concentrated even more, a small flame-like black aura can be seen streaming from some parts of the weapons. We see this when Zoro imbues his weapons with Haki as well. And you especially see it in the most recent episodes of One Piece, where he imbues his little seppuku knife to pretty much imbue it with Haki, and not only turns black, but it starts to exhume like a small flame-like aura from it due to how much armament he's put into the blade itself. Basic techniques literally mean Busoshok Koka, which is essentially armament hardening, literally meaning color of armaments hardening. Anyone else waiting for Eneru to return and rule over us mere mortals? My thing is, what he doing on the moon? He's still on the moon. Either that or he's sailing through space. Because it just got me thinking. He's ruling over the moon people that are on the moon right now. So it makes me wonder, what is he having him do while all of this that's happening on Earth? Or could we call it Earth? Is it Earth? Is all that's going on right now? Water's so good. Armament hardening somehow uses armament Haki to harden the body or parts of it, and objects which the user is holding. It was first seen used by Monkey D. Luffy in combination with Gear 3rd in order to use his Gumu Gumu no Elephant gun against the Kraken. I find it funny that anime-only users have no idea what's going on with Eneru. NL's up there with a bunch of dudes thinking he was so close to getting Nami stuck up there with him. He wishes. So people who have been able to use armament hardening have been Luffy, Virgo, Smoker, Z, Chinjao, Garp, Sabo, Jesus Burgess, Doflamingo, Law, Bellamy, Sai, Zoro, Pika, Kinemon, Kanjuro, Fujitoro, Sanji, Cracker, Jinbei, Big Mom, Katakuri, Rayleigh, and Grandpa Hiyu have been seen using it. Z had earned the nickname Black Arm Zephyr because of his mastery of it, if you're going by the film One Piece Film Z. It can also be imbued into weapons, as Virgo utilized it on a bamboo stick, Smoker on his Nanshaku Jite, the latter indicating Busoshoku Haki can be used in conjunction with Sea Stone, and Zoro on his swords, also called Buso Koka by Luffy when he uses an advanced form of Gumu Gumu no Gatling. It was also simply called Buso by Doflamingo when he blocked Luffy's attack, and Zoro when trying to stop the birdcage. In the Viz manga, it is called Color of Arms Hardening, and in Funimation subs, it's called Armament Hardening. Advanced techniques. This is where we get into Sabo's level of armament Haki. Advanced Buso armament can be emitted a short distance away from the user's body without a medium. It was first seen when Sentomaru deflected Luffy's attack without making direct contact, though it was not explained until much later during the Wano Country arc, where Luffy remembered how Rayleigh once used a similar technique. Luffy believes that advanced armament might be powerful enough to injure the extremely durable Kaido, who was able to easily shrug off regular armament when Luffy attacked him with Gear 3rd and even Gear 4th. Advanced armament can also be used in conjunction with the hardening application. This is where we get into Sabo's level of things. Said use of advanced armament involves channeling excess Haki from around one's body through one's fists. This allows the repelling of an enemies without making direct contact or using brute force. So who we've seen have used this, based on some info, we know that Kaido and Big Mom were on Rock's crew, but some info can also hint that Bakken, Whitebeard, and Shaki were also on that crew. Your thoughts later? Yes, we'll get into that. Said use of armament Haki can be channeled in one's fist. It allows the repelling of an enemy without making direct contact or using brute force. So far, Rocks, ROX, it's ROX. So far, Kuzan, Sakazuki, Borsellino, Sentomaru, Rayleigh, Hyogoro, and Kawamatsu have been the only ones seen using this. So, an even higher grade of this technique causes the user's Haki to reach inside the target's body and destroy them from within. This level has only been used by Rayleigh and Luffy, which the later did unconsciously. Both used it to destroy collars that were designed to kill a person under certain circumstances. This is where we get into the level of Sabo's ability to use Haki. Now, it does say that it's only been utilized by Rayleigh and Luffy, but I highly believe that Sabo's high level of Haki usage falls into this category. Because when it comes to his Ryu no Ryusoken Ryu no Ibuki, which allows him to pretty much just put his hands on the ground and cause like a massive earthquake, like causes him to shatter the ground around him and just implode the ground around him. I honestly believe that Sabo is able to use his Haki to imbue it into the earth and cause the ground to literally go implode from the inside just from him imbuing his Haki into the ground itself. That's why Sabo's Haki is so strong. That's why it's able to go up against Jesus Burgess and prevail. That's why he's able to go up against someone of Bastile's caliber and prevail. That's why he's able to go toe-to-toe with Fujitora with just a pipe, because he has such an advanced knowledge of armament Haki, and that's why his attacks are so devastating, to the point where I feel like Big Mom also used the thing Rayleigh and Luffy used when clashing with Gear Force Luffy. When she punched him back, when she pushed him back, he was knocked out. I think she hit him from the inside and knocked him out. Not only that, but she's able to cover her arms in armament Haki that ends in the same flame-like patterns that Gear Force Luffy is able to use, which tells me that Big Mom's armament hardening is on the same caliber as Gear Force Luffy, possibly greater, because when they clashed, she had the same flame-like markings on her arm as he did. So, and we all know how strong Gear Force Luffy is, so it just lets you know that Big Mom is on par or even greater than that attack power. But now we get to the drawbacks. When two opponents using armament Haki clash, the ones with the stronger armament Haki is more likely to be victorious. Big Mom versus Luffy, as we've seen. This can make it difficult to overcome an opponent's Haki in a brute force battle. However, it has been shown that superior armament Haki is not an absolute defense and can be overcome as long as the other opponent has superior physical strength, as shown when Luffy was able to damage Katakuri with Gear 4th. Significant physical force can still overcome this defense. For example, Luffy struck Boa Marigold hard enough with Gear 2nd attacks that it sent her reeling. So even though you can armor up with armament Haki, there's a limit. And you can brace yourself against attacks, but constant attacks will pretty much start to whittle it down. So armament Haki is not an absolute defense, but a high level of defense. And repeated shielding from attacks will start to whittle it down, just like repeated use of observation Haki will diminish the user's ability to use it. Armament is subjected for depletion for use for long periods of time, as armament Haki is proportional to the amount of spiritual life force an individual possesses and its stamina limiting. After the threshold is reached, the user will be unable to use it for a certain amount of time. It appears that the more Haki is used, the faster it will deplete. The users are unable to use Haki until they regain their stamina to use it again. Gear 4th Luffy versus his fight with Doflamingo. Once his Gear 4th ran out for the first time, he had to wait 15 minutes for it to come back, and that 15 minutes is long when you're trying to fight someone. Interactions with Devil Fruit users. Devil Fruit users are capable of using Haki themselves. This allows them to resist lesser Haki imbued attacks and is still able to pierce 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. My bad. And is still able to pierce through their defense if the attack is stronger. Good example of this is Akainu going up against Marco and Vista. Apparently, their Haki was not strong enough to go up against his Haki-imbued defense in conjunction with his Devil Fruit, which is why he found it annoying to fight them, but it left no lasting marks on him, even though he was using his Devil Fruit at the time. We know Haki has a limit, but during the Katakuri versus Luffy fight, besides the one-time Gear 4th use, Luffy never needed to refill it again. I think he did have to run away for a short period, and that's when he ran into Brule. But that was that one moment. Namek could have blown up twice before Luffy got his Haki back. I remember that episode. How many episodes did it last where Luffy didn't have his Haki back? At least 2, maybe 3 episodes worth? It was reaching. Sorry. Corner of the eye. Itching. Scratching. Losing control. Motor functions. Can't stop. Sorry. Whew. You just ever get the scratch in the corner of your eye, but I'm sorry. Moving on. Yes. Let me see. Armament works independently of users' devil fruit if they have one, as shown when Luffy uses it to enhance his gear third attack underwater. This type of haki may not be used on attacks that are not from one's bodies except for weapons, but can be used on anything generated by one's devil fruit, like Kizaru's laser beams, Marco's flames, or any other attacks-based devil fruits. Katakuri has shown that one does not need to be in direct contact with said substance to imbue his armament haki into it. Twice in Frieza time. Oh yeah. So a prime example of this is the fact that Katakuri is able to have like his strength donuts, like he's able to imbue his strength donuts, which are basically floating. Kizaru has laser beams. Yeah. Let me see if I read that right. Right, but can be used on anything generated by, yeah, he has laser beams that can pretty much bypass people's haki defenses. So I'm pretty sure he's using his haki in tandem with his laser beams to bypass people's. I'm actually making sure that I'm reading that right, and I'm not just going to assumptions here that Kizaru can use haki with his laser beams to make it bypass people's bodies, regardless if they have devil fruits or not. This type of haki may not be used on attacks that are not from one's bodies, except for weapons. Can be used on anything generated by one's devil fruit abilities. Okay, I get it now. I misread it, and I thought it was something completely different. When Kizaru uses Amaro Morakumo, that it's still light, but anyone using armament haki in like a sword or something can combat that sword completely made of light. There we go. I almost confused myself for a moment there. Let me see. Charlotte Katakuri, the one does not need to be in direct contact with said substance to imbue his armament haki into it. So Katakuri's strength mochi. It floats around him, and he doesn't have to physically touch it in order for it to be used with armament haki. So how would Kizaru versus Blackbeard go? It's light versus dark. That's very hard to say. It's very hard to say because we haven't seen the full extent of the dark fruit, and we haven't seen the full extent of the glint flute. Pika Pika no Mi, Yami Yami no Mi, respectively. Well, Pika Pika no Mi and Yami Yami no Mi reversively. So it's hard to say what they would do against one another. Now, a lot of people would argue that Blackbeard's ability would just envelop all of Kizaru's light, because with his dark ability, it can function similar to an actual black hole, and in a black hole, there's absence of light. So some people would argue like that. You can't harden like fire or magma or smoke. That'd be too OP. What they do is the part that is using haki will materialize. What they do is the part that is using haki will materialize back into the human form. Yeah, when I was saying it earlier that Kizaru would be able to use haki in tandem with his devil fruit, like his laser beams, that was kind of OP. I will say this though, that some people are able to, but the thing is, people with devil fruit abilities can imbue themselves to be resistant to haki. So Akainu has shown that he's resistant to haki even while using his magma in his magma state. So you can make it so that even if you're using like a Logia devil fruit, you can make it so that your body is resistant to being harmed by haki as a whole. So that is possible, but it's not like you can just straight up arm your entire body on top of being a Logia, thereby increasing your defense to both physical attacks from haki users and regular mooks as well. Kizaru is getting Zehaha to death. I cannot say. It's very, people can say that Blackbeard's darkness could swallow up Kizaru's light, but for me personally, it's impossible to say without seeing the extent of Kizaru's abilities and the extent of Blackbeard's abilities. We still don't know how he was able to get Whitebeard's fruit. Some people say that he used the dark fruit to suck the power out of him. Other people say that he had a fruit nearby and used it and used the the lineage the lineage factor of devil fruits to go into nearby fruits to swallow up another devil fruit. But we still don't know how he's able to harbor two in his body at a time. So there's a lot of elements about Blackbeard's abilities that we don't know about, and there's a lot of elements about Kizaru's abilities that we don't know a lot about. So I still don't think the Admirals are on the same level as the Yonko. Here's where I personally would like to differ with that, where there was a moment where I feel what Akainu did against Marco and Visa was similar to what Aokiji and Katakuri does. They changed that part of the body and opened up the hole to not get hit. I feel like that was kind of the thing as well. I feel like up until fighting Marco and Vista, Akainu really didn't have to worry about trying to shape his body around Haki users because he hadn't run into many of them. But he knows what it's like to fight them because he's apparently fought them before, because he said after getting attacked by Marco and Vista that Haki users are annoying to fight. So it shows that he's had to do this before, but he hasn't had to do it too often. So there's that whole opinion right there, that Akainu just basically shaped his body around the Haki attack of Marco and Vista. But here's my thing about the whole Admirals being on Yonko level. Though it's not specifically said, I feel like there are some people in the Marines, specifically some admirals, who are actually able to contend with Yonkos as well. If it's anything to go by, during the Marineford arc, Kizaru was able to go up against Whitebeard, and he was pretty much the only admiral out of the entire war to come out without a single scratch. He was able to go up against Whitebeard. There was a moment where he was holding down Whitebeard's Bacento with just his foot alone and was able to combat one of the commanders, no issue whatsoever. He was the only one able to do the most damage against Whitebeard and not receive any damage in turn. Aokiji went up against Whitebeard and got blindsided by Diamond Jozu. Even though he got shattered into ice, he reformed himself, but he was seen bleeding from the mouth afterwards. And he got kicked in the side by Marco using Haki to combat his ice ability. An old, sick, and already injured Whitebeard, and it was still pretty much even in most of the fights. Yes, so that's why I'm saying that Kizaru could be put on equal footing. But Whitebeard was nerfed so hard, he was sick and old and had suffered many wounds. I would say Whitebeard in Marineford is not even 25% of his max. True, but still, Whitebeard was still stronger than a lot of people there, and he was all the way he was 72 years old. But I still feel like Kizaru and some of the admirals are able to contend with Yonko due to the fact that the conversation that the Kizaru and Akainu have. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I just think this. I can't say for everyone else, but I just think. During a conversation in one of the most recent episodes of One Piece where Akainu and Kizaru are talking to one another about I do apologize, but I cannot understand anything that you're saying. I wish I did, though. I really wish I could speak other languages, but I can't understand. But I'm glad you're here. If the admirals were on the same level, then surely they would go after them. Here's the thing. When Akainu and Kizaru are talking about Big Mom and Kaido potentially meeting up, Kizaru was the first to chime in and says, do you want me to go and handle this? He just straight up says it. Do you want me to go down there and see about breaking it up? This is an admiral saying, this is Kizaru just straight up saying, like, do you want me to go down there myself and I'll go handle this myself? So it just put in my mind, I can't speak for everyone else. Kizaru isn't the smartest. No, I would say he's the most absent-minded, but he still knows when he's in over his head. Like, the whole conversation between him and Ben Beckman, he knew when to back off because he knew what he was dealing with. But I still feel like Kizaru wouldn't have said what he said if he didn't think he was capable of going there and contending with both Big Mom and Kaido. Now, my thing is, this is just my own opinion. I could be completely wrong. and Kizaru could, in all intents and purposes, not be in the same league as Big Mom and Kaido. But that's just the impression that I got. All right, no more bottles of water. Let's go ahead and get through this. Speaking of which, how long have I been doing this for? About a good hour. Okay. Okay, but taking into account Whitebeard was the strongest Yonko of his time, so maybe the Aramos could definitely have a more even fight against the other Yonkos. True. But let's get back to finishing off Armament Haki. We're pretty much almost done. Using Armament Haki, the entire Marine Navy went against Whitebeard, and they nearly lost. Yeah, they did. I think the Admirals are about 75 to 70 are about 70 to 75% of the Yonkos, and definitely about 85% of Blackbeard. I feel like he's the weakest. Yeah, I feel like, Blackbeard is definitely one of the weaker Yonkos, due to, in fact, his Devil Fruit makes it that he receives twice as much damage. Like, sure, the trade-off is enough for him to warrant having to receive twice as much damage, but in comparison, he's still one of the weaker Yonkos to actually go up against. But let's finish off Armament Haki. Using Armament Haki attacks on the element controlled by Logia-type Devil Fruit users will allow the attack to harm the substantial body of the opponent, since the element is essentially an extension of their body. However, this type of Haki will not harm the substantial body when used on elements controlled or produced by Paramecia-type Devil Fruit users, since it is not actually part of their body, as demonstrated by Treble. If the Paramecia-type Devil Fruit affects the user's body itself, Luffy, for example, is literally made of rubber, the user will also be harmed by an Armament Haki imbued attack. Haki's capability to counter Devil Fruit users extends past Logia types and lets them defend against certain Paramecia effects. However, this is dependent on the strength of the Haki, as Law bypassed Virgo's Haki and bifurcated him easily by using his own Devil Fruit techniques. Although it is unknown if Law used his own Haki to overcome Virgo's Haki, but it is similar to how Akainu was seemingly able to nullify his attacker's Armament Haki overall. While Haki can bypass the Devil Fruit's defense, it doesn't negate the Devil Fruit, like Seastone does. Instead, it forces the Devil Fruit's user's body into solidarity. So that's basically how Armament Haki works as a whole. Now we come on to the last bit of Haki as a whole, and why I feel like there's another level towards this. This is Conqueror's Haki. It is a rare form of Haki that cannot be attained through training. You literally have to be born with it, and only 1 in several million people have this ability. Is it Yonko of Goku? I don't know about Goku. Sorry, something's in my eye. It's really bothering me. Let me see. Or Goku. Or Goko. It's Yonko. It's Yonko. 1 in several million people have this ability. 5 emperors. I mean, sure, it's still technically 4 emperors. Big News Morgans was just jumping at the thought that Luffy could be a 5th emperor, but it's still Yonko. It's still 4. It is said that whoever possesses this type of Haki has the qualities of a king. Conqueror's Haki is considered an extremely dangerous threat and a highly valuable asset by powerful groups such as the Marine Admirals and the Yonko. It was first demonstrated by Shanks when he used it to scare off a Sea King, though it was not fully explained and revealed. Later on, during a meeting with Whitebeard, he used it to knock out most of the crew, while the few still standing attributed to his superior Haki. Luffy first demonstrated the effects of this type of Haki against Duval's bull Motobaro, much to everyone's confusion. He displayed it again on Amazon Lily while fighting Senator Sonia and Marigold, knocking out a large portion of the audience observing the match. This is also the first time it is referred to by name. And I watched One Piece, both the sub and the dub version, and I was really hoping that they would never call it just Conqueror Spirit. They only use it like one instance, but afterwards it's just straight up Conqueror's Haki, so I'm glad they went with that. I feel like Luffy needs a few Conqueror users on his crew to compete with the king. I mean, it's not like you have to sign a piece of paper to be an emperor. Surely to be classed an emperor would be notoriety. So if people see you that way, good point. Yeah. And the way Big News Morgan makes it, people without a doubt will start to see Luffy in that way due to all the feats that he's done and just his notoriety as a whole, like going up against Doflamingo and Dressrosa, the events of the Marineford, and how he's one of the only supernovas to be there at the whole fighting, aside from Law, who came to rescue him later. So yeah, a lot. 5 emperors. It's not too far fetched. Where was I? Roger, Rayleigh, Odin, Shanks, and Bullet had conquerors, maybe even more. Super OP. Okay, so I haven't seen One Piece Stampede. So if it says that Bullet has conquerors Haki, then I want to find out by watching the film itself. This also is the first time it's referred to by name. Luffy also used it to knock out the wolves attacking him and bent them in Impel Down. Plus, Stussy thinks Luffy is an evil mastermind. Oh, how wrong she is. Zoro and maybe Sanji will have it. Maybe, but it's an incredibly rare ability. Only 9 people so far in the entire series have been shown to have it. And we've seen countless people use all the other types of Hakis, but only a select few have been able to use it. Although he was poisoned badly by Magellan at the time and still had no control over it. Luffy's exhibition of it during the Marineford War was enough for the Marine admirals to become wary enough of him that they prioritized his elimination afterwards. After the time skip, Luffy is proficient enough to tame monsters as well as knock out a select group of individuals without affecting any of the bystanders using Conqueror's Haki, displaying his newfound proficiency in the skill. Luffy was even able to use it while unconscious. Is it 9? I thought it was more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it was more. I'm sorry. I forgot Kid, Sengoku, and some others as well. As well as Odin. Yeah, it's a lot more now. Shanks, Rayleigh, Hancock, Luffy, the late Whitebeard, Ace, Doflamingo, Chinjiao, Big Mom, Katakuri, Odin, Kazuki Odin, Eustace Kid, and Sengoku, along with non-canon users Bullet and Naguri from the film and the filler arc about Ace and everybody else. After the time skip, did I say Bo Hancock? Yeah, she can use it as well, making her so far one of the few female characters who are able to use Conqueror's Haki, the other being Big Mom, obviously. There are also many that have been hinted at, but not confirmed. Yes, because Rayleigh did tell Luffy that there are others in the New World who can use Conqueror's Haki, along with there's being more than just Katakuri who can see into the future with Observation Haki. So it just makes me wonder at what level is Katakuri's and is there even more extensive versions of that, or are there people who can use it better than Katakuri? Like Dragon Garb for the best examples, pretty much. After the time skip, displays new found efficiency, was able to use it unconsciously. So after the fight with Kaido versus Luffy, where Kaido basically just one-shots. Hold on. Actually, say hello to all the peoples.
Hi.
Hey, Noah. What's going on?
Good.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Hey, everybody, this is my little cousin, Noah.
Say hi to YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Hi.
So, I'm just talking about some One Piece stuff right now. I may talk to you guys about it later on when you get to understand all the concepts of it all. But
What BK?
Yeah, just get me You all right, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, just remember to always cover your mouth, okay?
Okay.
But yeah, they're my little cousins. Are you just flopping on my bed while I'm trying to have a conversation here?
I want to cops. I want to cops. You said what?
Hold on for a sec, you guys.
He's on mute.
No, it's not on mute. I'm just gonna talk to you guys here on stream so you guys know that this is my family I'm talking. This is my family I'm talking to. But
Okay, look at this cute. Look, see
oh, what you playing?
this one. Actually, it had to hit. See, those are my team. See?
He's a robber.
Yeah, cause I got one.
You're in. How old is he?
5.
You're 5 years old and you're playing a game on your phone where you're an armed robber gunning down security guards.
Yeah, I'm shooting police officers like they can't kill them. And actually, those are my team right there.
Shouldn't we be playing this?
We'll discuss it later.
Yeah, we're definitely going to discuss
that's my
the fact
team,
that.
so that's my
boys,
team.
let's go.
All right, Jonathan, go.
Continue.
You done distracted me now. We got to discuss this.
Really?
Why is he playing? Why is he playing a game where?
He slid down the whole staircase.
First of all, what is Noah doing sliding down the stairs, and what is Jonathan doing playing a game where he's an armed robber shooting security guards? He's 5.
You want a sandwich, chicken nugget?
Yeah, give me my chicken. Give me my regular chicken nuggets.
10 piece.
10 piece with
Fries.
onion rings. I still got you unmuted because I want everything to be just
10
natural.
piece fries. You want Sprite?
Oh, he's not playing GTA. He's playing a game on his phone. But
It's called, hold on. I'll tell you what it's called because it came in my watch.
yeah, my sister's got the Apple Watch.
It's called Armed.
He's playing a mobile game called Armed where he's playing an armed robber gunning down security guards, and he's excited while he's playing this. He's 5 years old.
He's winning too.
He's good at it. Why?
He's still.
See, I'm still warming car.
Q, you want 10 piece fries?
No, 10 piece
I'm
onion
still
rings.
warming
Sprite.
car.
Okay, come on, Jonathan.
Y'all know my usual. Y'all know what I like.
Noah, don't slide down the stairs no more.
Look, Jonathan, I don't think you're too young to be playing that game. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. What is going on? Lex. Thank you. Hi, hello, we're back. That's just some of the dynamic that happens with me and my family. We're watching my cousins over here a little bit, but he was just playing a racing game yesterday. Now he's gunning down policemen in a bank. What have they done to my cousin? GTA is an awesome game, but not for kids. Oh, I got GTA, but he's never touching that. He ain't touching that. Jonathan won't be the only one armed if they come back with fries. Hey, as long as they got my onion rings with that zesty sauce, I ain't got no complaints. And make sure they get barbecue. That game is 17 plus. Yeah. I got so much rated M games. I never play my rated M games when they're here. At the very most, I play games like my Spider-Man game. Slightly violent games, but not violent enough to affect them because I don't want to pollute their minds at all. I either play games where it looks like fun and wins and go like my Lego games or anything else, but I'm not going to do it to them where I just expose them. They're too young for that. I'm not going to do that. Are those swords in the background? Yeah. I might as well show you guys. I got shorts on because I'm relaxing. But it's basically the sword that Genji uses in Overwatch. So it's not a real sword, but it is a cosplay one. So it is heavy because all of this is just straight metal right here. But yeah, I just had to have it because I like swords. I like handguns and I like swords. So, and since this is a non-threatening, non-violent one, I can have it in here. Yeah, because we ain't got no weapons in my house. Well, I got one, but I keep that hidden away. Shh. But let's get back to it. After the time skip, Luffy is proficient enough to tame monsters. You own 3 real katanas. Jealous. As well as knock out a select group of individuals without affecting any of the bystanders using Conqueror's Haki, displaying his newfound proficiency in the skill. Luffy was even able to use it while unconscious. So, after the fight with Kaido versus Luffy, when they tried to grab Luffy, he used Conqueror's Haki. I don't know if it was like a defensive mechanism because he was unconscious, but he knocked out the guys around him, but not Kaido. And Kaido's all like, oh, so this punk can use Conqueror's Haki just like Kid. So yeah. Usage. This type of Haki grants the user the ability to dominate the will of others. The most common usage of it shown in the series so far is using it to exert the user's willpower onto those with weak wills and rendering them unconscious. Whilst inexperienced users are restricted to merely overpowering the will of one individual or blindly knocking out weak-willed people around them, those with more expertise can pick out weak-willed individuals in a large group and knock them out without affecting the others. Prime and first example of this, Rayleigh using it to knock out everyone but the Supernovas and the Straw Hats during the whole Sabaody altercation that happened after Luffy punched St. Charlos. However, those with stronger wills can resist or even ignore the effects of Shock Haki, Conqueror's Haki. I like to say the Japanese names, but my mind wants to say the English names as well. The ability to knock out someone depends on the difference in strength between the person using the Haki and the person or persons the user is trying to knock out. Also have a crossbow and 2 lightsabers. Unfortunately, the lightsabers aren't real. Oh, you got some good stuff. Like, I would like to have some lightsabers as well, like the professionally made ones. Like, you know, the effects ones that are professionally made. Like, I see there's this one at my local GameStop that is the Mace Windu one that is still fresh in the box and brand new that I want so badly. I need it. I'm sorry if I'm being loud. Sometimes I can't remember how the volume of the microphone tends to be. So if I'm yelling, then I do apologize. Let me move this out of the way real quick. Just put it on my bed right there. Y'all have never seen my whole room before, but one day I might show it just to show just how my room is. Maybe one day. But back to it. Yes, I want a Mace Windu one with the writing. Was writing this before you mentioned Mace. Dude, out of all the lightsabers in all of I was about to say Skyrim, in all of Star Wars, Mace Windu's has got to be the most awesome. There are other words for it, but the ones that I'm capable of using, since I don't curse or anything, is awesome. So if it's still there, you know what? I might actually look at the price of it. I might actually get that today. Oh, I might actually get that today. But I'll think about it. But his lightsaber is amazing and awesome. And I could talk about that in some other stream. Star Wars streams, I don't know. Okay, back to Conqueror's Haki. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted here, but I like this guy. It better be in your next stream. I'll see what I can do. Because, well, my next physical stream, it might be me playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 because it comes out. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 comes out tomorrow. And I'm going to be doing a whole series on that. So if you guys want to watch that, I will. But back to the main subject matter for this stream. How long have I been going on for? An hour, 30 minutes. Almost 2 hours. Not bad. However, those with stronger wills can resist or even ignore the effects of Conqueror's Haki. The ability to knock someone out depends on the difference in strength between the person using the Haki and the person or persons the user is trying to knock out. The greater the power gap, the easier it is to knock the victim out. So people who have no knowledge of or concept of Haki as a whole, easily knocked out whatsoever. Those of them that know it in its entirety and have strong wills can pretty much resist it or be completely immune to it. According to Rayleigh, while this type of Haki cannot be attained through training, it can be improved upon through strengthening the will of the user. I want a purple lightsaber. So do I. That is like one of the greatest colors in all this lightsabers. I'm getting distracted again. I got to focus. But we're talking about so many good things right now. Come on, you guys. You guys know what I like. Y'all know my weakness. Stuff. While this type of Haki can be attained through training, it can be improved upon through strengthening the will of the user. It seems that upon recovery, victims of Conqueror's Haki experience the sensation of chills running through their body. However, it presumably wears off after a short period. One can also use Conqueror's Haki to destroy things, as seen by Shanks when he was able to crack apart a Whitebeard's ship using his Haki. Yes, finally, it acknowledges that high levels of Conqueror's Haki are able to affect physical things around an environment, such as whenever Conqueror's Haki users clash. Normally, you would have seen just like a wave of air jut out from them and affect the area around them. Well, it's not until we see like Shanks and Whitebeard and Katakuri versus Luffy do we see that Conqueror's Haki is able to physically alter and physically affect objects around them. When Shanks went on the Whitebeard ship, he was cracking the ship. He was cracking parts of the ship with just his Conqueror's Haki overall. Then, when Luffy and Katakuri's Conqueror's Haki clashed in the mirror world, it cracked the area around them just from the sheer amount of force between the two. When they clashed, it not only caused like a massive wave of power to be exhumed from them, but it also started to affect the area around them. So now we are here. What do you think about the advanced Conqueror's Haki I brought up just now, the weather controlling one? I feel like even though Conqueror's Haki is strong, it too has another level. Like observation Haki, we've seen it, people can sense stuff. Then it got to the point where people can use it to see long distances. Then we got to the point where now people can use it to see into the future. So, and then we got armament Haki. It's invisible. People are able to block attacks with it and even bypass devil fruit abilities of people. Another level, able to harden their bodies and alter their physical appearance and bulk up and increase their attacks and even imbue objects with it. Then we see another level that makes it so that it can infect things from the inside, literally cause things to implode and break down from the inside. A possible reason why Kaido can be affected by armament Haki is it will bypass his inhuman durability on the outside and infect him on the inside. And now we're here at Conqueror's Haki. You can't tell me that there's not another level to Conqueror's Haki that is beyond what we've seen already. That could pretty much, like Jinbei Bayef said, could possibly affect not only just the area around him, but also the weather as well. Possibly. Who knows? But I feel like there's more to Conqueror's Haki than what we've just seen. And I feel like there's higher levels of it that we have yet to fully understand yet. We have yet to fully understand Haki as a whole. Will we get to see where Haki originated? Who used Haki as a whole? Who named all these different versions of Haki? I don't know. Hopefully. But like I said, I don't know. The ability can also be used even when unconscious, as shown when Luffy managed to knock down his captors in Wano despite being in an unresponsive state. Then we come to the strength and drawbacks. If Conquerors could control the weather, that would need Nami. If Nami got Conqueror's Haki and could control the weather, she could literally be one of the more OP characters in One Piece. Because she could use it, with her knowledge of weather, she could cause different weather effects in a way, I don't know, to happen and attack different ways with her climb attack, different tempos for different situations. And she could use it with her Conqueror's Haki. But there's no way of telling if that could actually be a thing. I don't know. Can you imagine if certain members of the Straw Hats had different Haki abilities that they normally wouldn't have? Like Robin having armament Haki. Do you know how OP she would be if she had armament Haki in conjunction with her devil fruit power? No one would resist the clutches. Iron clutches. Armament clutches. That would hurt. Like during the Ed War against Shiki, there was a huge storm that sank half of Shiki's ships and Roger was untouched. When Shanks and Pops clashed, the sky turned dark and split. When Mama was angry, the sky turned dark. Very good points. Who knows what affects Conqueror's Haki? Like, here's the thing. That actually, you know what? You actually bring up a very good point that actually kind of coincides with what I've been talking about. When Conqueror's Haki users clash, it affects the environment around them. But what if a Conqueror's Haki user uses it to an extent where it affects the around them by themselves and it causes pretty much what you said. Like when Big Mom gets angry, it causes storms. when Shanks and Whitebeard clashed, it caused the entire sky to be split due to their clashing Haki. So it just shows that even though we've seen them clash in like chapters and animes, and it's only like in a small area around them, it can actually reach up to the sky itself if a person's willpower is strong enough that we've seen. All right, strengths and drawbacks, and then we have other information, and then we'll go down the line. Does Luffy's power to hear the voice of all things have anything to do with Haki? That in and of itself, I think it might be separate from Haki as a whole, because the only people we've been able to see actually have that ability is Roger, and as far as I know, Luffy. I don't think Shirahoshi has it. I think it's just her ability to call Sea Kings is due to her being the personification of the super weapon Poseidon. So, but I just think it's just Roger and Luffy who are able to do it. And I feel like that's a rare ability that's even rarer than Conqueror's Haki in and of itself, because we've only seen both of them have it. Oh, and Momonosuke as well. Thank you, Grant. Thank you. You keep me on my toes. Thank you. But let's go to strength and drawbacks. We are almost done with Conqueror's Haki, and then we can start to wrap this up. One of the main advantages of this form of Haki is that it can be used to knock weak-willed people out without physically harming them, such as when Luffy used it to knock out the Fishman Island civilians who mistakenly believed he had kidnapped Princess Shirahoshi. It also allows the users to avoid having to fight with people weaker than themselves, avoiding unnecessary conflict by ending a fight before it starts, such as when Luffy used it to knock out Damaro Black and the fake Straw Hat crew. As shown with Luffy's use of it on the new Fishman pirates, this form of Haki can also be used to reduce an enemy's manpower. However, these advantages can only be applied to weak-willed people, as shown by Luffy's use in the Whitebeard War. In the Whitebeard War, isn't it Marineford War? Why would they put Whitebeard War? I guess you could call it that. While Luffy was able to knock out weak-willed Marines like Django, the Marines with stronger wills like Full Body were able to remain conscious. Another advantage is a proficient user like Luffy can use it to tame powerful and dangerous animals, allowing the user to pacify ferocious beasts such as the Kraken or Fighting Bull while turning them into powerful allies. Damaro Black was a genius. He had a great plan, just poorly timed. Do you think you can imbue attacks with Conquerors in a sort of way that when you hit your opponent, you might lower his willpower? I never thought of that. Can you? If Conqueror's Haki can be used to affect the area around you, can you imbue Conqueror's Haki into a weapon to reduce the willpower of another? Wow. I never thought of that. And I don't think anyone's ever brought that up. Like concentrated hit of Conquerors. Like in a way, one big burst of Conqueror's Haki against a strong person may not affect them, but constant hits of Conqueror's Haki might start to whittle down their willpower and their mental stability to stay conscious throughout these hits. That's interesting. I bet Condi Oriana can use all of these Haki powers. Maybe he's OP as it is. Please nerf. Damaro Black is a god tier character. When you think about it, this dude managed to fool pretty much everybody into thinking that the Straw Hats were back, and the thing is, they never questioned the appearance of some of the Straw Hats. They might have just thought that their appearance changed over the 2 years. This man was able to con his way into almost gathering a full-on crew just by using the Straw Hats name, and no one batted an eye at it. He did fool Sentomaru. Actually, he did not. Sentomaru actually came to the defense of Luffy when Damaro Black was all... He didn't fool Sentomaru. Yeah. Okay. It was a typo. My bad. Sorry. Because Sentomaru just came up on him and said, did I just hear you right, or did they just call you Captain Luffy? And then he says, yeah, I'm the grandson of Garp. Also, I'm the son of Dragon the Revolutionary. And Sabo is, and Porcus the Ace is my brother. And then it earns him getting pretty much bodied by Sentomaru, and Sentomaru's all like, you're not even close to, you're not Captain Luffy, you're not Straw Hat Luffy, not even close. So, in a roundabout way, Sentomaru kind of defended Luffy's honor by saying, scum like you would never compare to Luffy. So even though he's Marine, he still acknowledges power and acknowledges that Luffy is this strong. You would never compare to this guy. Chopper got fooled more than anyone. Chopper's a kid. He's easily encourageable. How is your Sentomaru impression? Well, since it's the same guy that also does the voice for the Kuma from Danganronpa, I don't know how my Sentomaru impression would be. Like, because the voice that they give him, it's kind of like this, but I can't exactly guarantee that it would sound this. I can't guarantee that it would sound this good. Did I hear you correctly, or did they call you Captain Luffy? Like, something like that. Do a Kaido impression. I gotta get my microphone out for this. These pugs think they're playing some type of game. These supernovas. You know what? Let me just look up some quotes just so I can go through it. Kaido quotes. That way I can do it. Because I feel like Kaido has an exceptionally deep voice. Where are you, Kaido? But overall, remember, Kaido is always drunk. Let me see. I want to say some spoken lines. The laugh was straight fire, but the wolf should be... but the wolf should be super loud, so... I gotta come up through the throat for that. There we go. Okay, good to know that I'm going in the right direction. Come on. I'm trying to find some Kaido quotes, and then we'll continue on with the Conqueror's Haki. Which makes me wonder, can Kaido use it as well? Maybe. Oh, so Kaido has two unique laughs. The whoa, and a second one of his has been observed as he was drunk. Okay, interesting. What's my favorite manga anime? Also, hey, Simon, sorry I wasn't here at the beginning of the stream. I fell asleep, long story, but I'm here now and we're getting close to finishing up here. I'm trying to find some Kaido quotes so I can do his voice, because I can only do so much. I can only do so much with just a laugh. I want to say some actual lines that he's actually said. Ah, here we go. Here's one. Where is it? Kaido. There he is. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Bring those brats to me right now. I feel like I may have to go back. And look through some old chapters to find some spoken lines from Kaido. But I'll do it later. Well, I'm still holding my mic. Why am I still holding my mic? Sorry about that. All right, back to Conqueror's Haki. We've already read through the strength and drawbacks. Other information. There have been two ways in which this Haki has been used. The first and most common way is in a quick burst that will knock out those with weaker wills relatively easily. The second method is to release it continuously, which will not only knock out those of weak wills around the user, but also put pressure on the surroundings, actually affecting other physical objects besides living beings. Luffy versus Katakuri and Shanks clashing with Whitebeard, prime examples. It has also been shown that light bursts of Conqueror's Haki can be used in order to tame or intimidate creatures and exhibit the user's superiority over the beasts. I'm getting burgers and onion rings. I'm getting chicken nuggets and onion rings. It has been shown that when two users of this Haki clash, it causes a rippling or shockwave effect, cracking the air similar to the Quake fruit. The shockwaves from the Conqueror's Haki clash between Luffy and Shinjao were strong enough to blast people out of the Colosseum arena into the water below. The Conqueror's Haki clash between Luffy and Doflamingo produced shockwaves that pushed Treble and Law's incapacitated body away from them. So Conqueror's Haki clashes are literal shockwaves of physical willpower. And it is able to affect an area around the users with enough force to literally blow people back. What do you think of Hamon in JoJo's versus Haki in One Piece? I feel like they function on the same level. Hamon is able to affect the body from the inside, such as being able to affect like the Pillarmen and Dio from the inside out, where normal attacks would not work. So it's able to bypass. I feel like it works best. I feel like Hamon is more. I feel like Hamon is closer to. Sorry, I got like a pain on the top of my eye. I don't know if there's something there, but it's just like a shooting pain on there for some odd reason. It's odd, but Hamon functions pretty much just like Haki. You can imbue it into your attacks to affect a body that normally wouldn't be damaged on the outside from the inside. You can use it to sense things around you, but I don't know if it has the same function as being able to use Conqueror's Haki, though. Observation, and armament, yes, but not Conqueror's, though. Gotta bounce. Enjoy the stream today. Keep up the grind. See you soon, too, Grant. Hey, Jinbei is Bay. It was great to have you here. I like having these types of streams where I can interact with you guys and we can talk about things and just enjoy ourselves overall. I'm going to be doing more of these. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these. And as my channel grows bigger and more people, watch me and do what I do, this will be easier and the conversations will become more varied and a lot more enjoyable. I love doing these with you guys. And I hope you guys enjoy it when I do these as well. I may not be the most literate when it comes to certain things, but I would like to think that you guys enjoy it whenever I do these as well. But Hamon and Haki, they pretty much go tandem, but I think that Hamon only pretty much lacks the whole Conqueror's Haki side of things. Like they got armament and observation on Hamon's side, but not the Conqueror's side. Let me see. According to Treble, Conqueror's Haki is proof of an individual who possesses the quality of a king, a candidate chosen by heaven. Indeed, most of the people who have been shown to possess Conqueror's Haki, aside from the non-canon Naguri, share a royal position or epithet or attain some highly respected status, which indicates the dominating role. Boa Hancock, known as the Pirate Empress, is Amazon Lily's ruler and a member of the Shibukai, of the warlords and captain of the Kuja pirates. Big Mom is Totland's queen, one of the Yonko, and captain of the Big Mom pirates. She is also the matriarch of the Charlotte family. Katakuri is one of the sweet. Hamon should have stayed in JoJo. I mean, Joseph made a bulletproof wall out of hair. Surely that could have been useful. Yeah, it could have been. It would have been very useful. But no, we got to go with stands now. Not that there's anything wrong with stands, but now we won't see Hamon come back. It's unfortunate. Charlotte Katakuri is one of the sweet commanders of the Big Mom Pirates, noted to be the strongest one, the minister of the Komugi Island, and the second son of the Queen of Totland. Chinchao was a Don before passing the title to Sai. He is the leader of the Chinchao family and former 12th Admiral of the Hapo Navy. Don Quixote do Flamingo is the former king of Dressrosa, a former member of the Oka Shibukai, and captain of the Don Quixote pirates, as well as a former world noble and the most influential person in the underworld. Edward Newgate was one of the Yonko and captain of the Whitebeard pirates. He was the only man strong enough to rival the pirate king Gold D. Roger and was also known as the one closest to the One Piece before his demise. Eustace Kidd is the captain of the Kidd Pirates and an active participant in the underworld. He is also part of the Worst Generation. Kozuki Oden was the former daimyo of Kuri and the son of Kozuki Sukiyaki, the shogun of Wano country. Monkey D. Luffy is the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. He has the longest description out of everyone in this list. And leader of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, as well as the sworn brothers of Sabo and the late Porcus D. Ace. The grandson of Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp, who has the epithet Hero of the Marines, and the son of the Revolutionary Army leader Monkey D. Dragon. Also, he has made notable friends with many royal people such as Nefertari Vivi, Shirahoshi, and Rebecca, as well as having formal royals of his crew and fleet, Sanji and Cavendish, respectively, and is the current possessor of the straw hat that once belonged to the late pirate king, Goldie Roger, which was later given to Shanks and later given to Luffy. He has been recognized as the fifth emperor of the sea. He is also part of the Worst Generation. Porcus D. Ace, being the son of the Pirate King, can metaphorically be considered a prince, and was also mistakenly thought by the world at large to be the intended successor to Whitebeard himself. He was also captain of the Spades Pirates earlier, and later became commander of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Sengoku is a former fleet admiral, the highest-ranking marine commissioned officer. He possesses the power of the mystical Hito no Mi model Daibutsu, giving him the appearance of a giant representation of the Buddhism figure of the highest enlightenment, which in turn earned him the epithet of Sengoku the Buddha. Shanks is one of the Yonko and captain of the Red Hair Pirates. He also served as an apprentice under the late Pirate King and inherited Roger's straw hat, which he later gave to Luffy. And last but not least, we have Silvers Rayleigh, has the epithet of Dark King. He was also the right hand of the late Pirate King. While this is shown to be a very rare gift among the world as a whole, it is noted by Don Chinjiao that the new world is filled with numerous others who possess the ability to use this haki. He explains that Luffy will most certainly encounter them and fight them for the title of Pirate King. So, there are a lot more Conqueror's Haki users out there in the new world. We just haven't seen them yet. And Luffy's going to have to encounter some of them in order for him to get to the One Piece and become the Pirate King. Oh, are we in for a wild ride? So Luffy and Kid are the only supernovas with Conquerors. Pretty much at this point, yes. Luffy and Kid are the only one who have Conquerors of the Worst Generation. And then we have the anime differences. In the manga, those hit with... Oh, wait, we've already read through this before. All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, was all of the haki, all that we know so far about armament haki, observation haki, and conqueror's haki, including the people who are able to use it, what it means for the future of One Piece as a whole, and the potential that some levels of haki that we've seen so far have additional levels that we have yet to see, specifically conqueror's haki. Now, for a while, you got your burger and onion rings. I'm still waiting on mine, so... almost there. I'm going to be eating that after the stream is over. But I feel like even though we've seen multiple levels of observation and multiple levels of armament, I feel like Conquerors has multiple levels as well. And we've talked about many theories that it could possibly be used to affect the weather, or it can be used to other different effects. But only time will tell. We have to see what Oda's going to drop on us. We're coming off from break tomorrow for One Piece. I'm definitely make sure I'm going to have the chapter reaction out bright and early for you guys, because also later that day, I'm going to be doing a bunch of videos for the new Marvel game that's going to be coming out tomorrow. So expect that video very early, possibly like 7, maybe 8 o'clock is when I'll do the video. And by 9, I want to have it up on my channel so you guys can see it as early as possible. But only time will tell just how far Oda is going to dive into the history of Haki and just how far Haki can go. There's a lot of things on my mind about Haki, like the different levels, like each varying level. Like you got your basic version of armament, then you got your armament that covers your arm, then you got the armament that covers your arm, that covers your entire body. Then you have armament that is comparable to Gear 4 Luffy, like Big Mom is able to easily use, and she doesn't have to cover her numerous parts of her body in it. Then we have Haki that can be used to sense people, Haki that can be used to sense the intent of people, Haki that can see the invisible, Haki that can see long distances, observation Haki that can not just individual Hakis. I mean observation Haki, which is Haki that I've said before, but observation Haki that can basically allow one to see into the future, and Haki that can go up against devil fruit abilities that would render one intangible, that allows people to harm people with devil fruit abilities that makes them resistant to overall damage in general. And then we got Conqueror's Haki, which is such an exceedingly rare ability that we only see it in short instances amongst only very, very powerful people. And then when these powerful people have been KO'd, we don't see any more uses of it, nor do we see any more examples of it. But I feel like in the future of One Piece, I don't know if it'll be soon or if it's far off in the distant future, but I feel like Conqueror's Haki has another level to it that could make it a far more dangerous ability. Because even though Conqueror's Haki is a dangerous ability, I feel like the Marines know more about Haki as a whole, and I feel like there's something about Conqueror's Haki that makes it so that anyone who uses Conqueror's Haki is a direct threat to the Marines, not just for their ability to knock people out, because sure, it's a dangerous ability. You can knock people out, you can intimidate people, it's dangerous. But I feel like for those who are still resistant to it, for those who are resistant to it to still see it as an imminent threat, and to those who have it, they must be destroyed at all costs. I feel like there's something else that goes with Conqueror's Haki that makes it so that any person who possesses it is literally spells a death sentence for them going up against the Marines. So I feel like there's something else with Conqueror's Haki that makes it far more dangerous than just simply using your willpower to knock out the weak-willed. I feel like there's something else that goes in with this that makes it a far more dangerous ability than Oda is really showing us right now. So that's pretty much my assumption. But that's all I can say about Conqueror's Haki, Observation Haki, and Armament Haki. This has been such an enlightening discussion to have with you guys. The banter we've had. So Bao must be destroyed. I don't think the Navy are trying to kill her. Boa must be destroyed. I don't think the Navy are trying to kill her. No, they're not. I mean, they're pretty much in an agreement with her. So in retrospect, they're using her as a way of having an element of Conqueror's Haki, an additional element of Conqueror's Haki on their side. As long as the warlords are under the employ of the government is not too concerned about taking her out for now. But Fujitora has said that Vegapunk has developed something that pretty much renders the warlords obsolete at this point. So who knows how much more useful they're going to see Boa Hancock after we get introduced to Vegapunk and whatever will make the warlords obsolete. So who knows? Like, it might be too soon to say, but who knows? But I just feel Mihawk is the best warlord. Of course he is. Of course. Like, sure, Boa may be the best looking warlord, but Mihawk is the best warlord overall. This dude hasn't had a single injury the entire series. And we've seen him in the beginning of the series. And he's not only survived the Marineford War, he survived, like, there's only a couple of people from the Marineford War that walked away without a single scratch. Kizaru, Boa Hancock, Mihawk. I want to say yeah, there was only a handful of people. Vegapunk versus Stewie Griffin. That's a battle of the minds. Sneeze is on the edge of my nose again. It's messing with me. It doesn't want to come out when I speak. It only does that when I stop talking. Come on out, you. Stop messing with me. Every time I talk, it goes back in, and then it just stops whenever I'm not speaking. Like, it's right there on my nose, but when I hate this. Okay, let me just finish up. So, this has been a phenomenal, great, and productive talk. Stewie can throw a... you know, and then Emporio Ivankov will possibly join in that party. Hee-haw! But who knows? But this has been a phenomenal talk about hockey as a whole, and I can't wait to see what Oda is going to surprise us with the concept of hockey and just what it means for the future of One Piece. Will we get a history on it like we will with the Void Century? Because I highly believe that we're going to find out what happened during the Void Century and why the Marines don't want anybody to find out about it. And I feel like hockey has an origin, and we may find that out as well, whether through the One Piece story or maybe a spinoff. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just heard my family come back inside. The garage just opened, so I'm pretty much going to be eating here in a few. So, with that being said, I really enjoyed having this discussion with you guys. I really do. I love this. I love doing this. I love doing this. It is an honor to be a YouTuber that you guys like to watch. It does my heart good to know that all that I'm doing for my channel, it puts a smile on people's faces, and if not, that at the very least, it's entertaining you. So, with that being said, I cannot wait to see you guys pretty much tomorrow because we're going to be doing I'm going to be doing my reaction to One Piece tomorrow. Then going to be doing some of that Ultimate Alliance 3, the Black Order gameplay. So, hope you all enjoyed. Cannot wait to see you all in the next video. So, have a fantastic day. I'm definitely going to do more of these as we go through One Piece. I'm definitely going to be having talk with you guys. So, have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. Better have the saber ready. Oh, don't worry. I'll take care of that.